Hello friends, welcome back to our channel We the Demigods. We have so many people among us who are great at remembering things and how fast they can calculate numbers. Like Shakuntala Devi for example. She was a mental calculator and was well known as the human computer. She did the fastest human computation in 28 seconds by successfully multiplying two randomly selected 13-digit numbers. No wonder people like to have astounding memory, and she became a record holder in the Guinness Book of World's Record for her mathematical genuity. Do you know that an average person wastes 40 days in a year trying to remember what he or she forgot? Yes, 40 days. And in such a highly advanced technological world, every day there seems to be something more to remember. If you are equipped with a highly advanced memory, life would be qualitatively much better. If we remember all that we tend to forget, it will make us more persuasive, more confident, and in a fundamental sense, more smarter. It can certainly help you become more attentive and a wiser person. If you want to remember things rapidly like Elon Musk or become an innovator like Steve Jobs, we have to invest in our brains and improve our lives. So let's start and understand how to assess brain's hidden potential. Many times you would have realized that just because you didn't sit down and understand something the first time you read it, didn't mean that you were stupid. We have to understand that. That's actually how our brain works. You often sort of look at something for the first time and you kind of get stuck and you have to walk away from the problem. And when you walk away, that opens new neural pathways that allows you to look at it from a different perspective, that you need to be able to better understand that problem. Let's understand this a bit more. How do you make yourself fall asleep? You really can't. You can set up a situation so that you will fall asleep, but you can't command yourself to fall asleep. And in the same way, you can command yourself to pay attention to something, but you can't command yourself to not pay attention to something. Because pretty much that's as soon as you do that, you're paying attention to it. So to get into another more relaxed mode, sometimes you'll need to do things like go for a walk, get your mind off of it by looking at something different, go skateboarding, have a cup of coffee, anything that kind of gets your mind off of it. And that's the only way that the other network opens up, and it kind of tackles the problem in the background and puts things together for you so that when you go back, it actually makes sense. And in fact, it can make sense so much that you'll be sitting there scratching your head thinking, how did I ever not understand this? The Pomodoro technique is a time management method. The technique uses a timer to break down your work into intervals, traditionally 25 minutes in length, separated by short breaks. Each interval is known as Pomodoro. And quite simply, you turn off all your distractions, so no little notifications on your cell phone or nothing popping up on your computer. And then you set up a timer for 25 minutes and focus as intently and as reasonably as you can for 25 minutes. Don't allow yourself to go off and get distracted. Or if you find yourself getting distracted, get your intention back as soon as you can. And then after 25 minutes, reward yourself. So you may listen to songs, or you can get up and kind of move around a little bit. Anything that gets your mind off of what you've previously been working on. Now, it's often a really good idea to let yourself do something that's using a different part of the brain. Say if you were writing a report and then you take a break and then go on Instagram or Twitter, but you're still writing things. And it's like saying, yep, I've been lifting heavy weights for my workout at the gym, and now I'm going to go and take a break and lift some boxes of books. Researchers are finding that when just thinking about something you don't want to do, it activates the pain center in the brain, which causes you to switch off the attention to something else. And that's known as procrastination. But if you worked through it, like by using the Pomodoro technique, the pain subsides after about 20 minutes. So the Pomodoro technique can actually get you back into flow. 25 minutes. Why 25 minutes? It's a small enough length so that you're not intimidated or disgusted and don't even start. And yet, it's long enough to keep you on the edge, so it isn't that bad. I guess, and you just think like, I'll keep doing it. In fact, there are Pomodoro timers. So you can buy timers, you can buy apps for your phone. People like it so much that you can find all sorts of things to help you get through with this technique. You can change a lot more than you think you can change. So don't put yourself in a box. We often take aptitude tests to think, and we think, oh, that is something I'm really good at. But what you're actually telling yourself is that you're good at that right now, at the time that you're taking the test. We have multiple examples where people started studying something else and their professions were very different from what they were studying. And they were all really good at their professions. So it seems that people discovered an opportunity that really enchanted them. So that when they went after it, they were very pleasantly surprised to learn that their own skills and backgrounds and learning areas, that they had some mastery in translated over there. You would go on the net and search inspiring stories of people who left their normal life or routine and found purpose and success in life. What inspires people is to look at these stories, like incredible stories of how people have made changes. Sometimes they're super dramatic, and sometimes just small tweaks that have improved their lives. And to give a number of different templates that you can mentally size for yourself and your brain to use and inspire you with new ideas about things that you can do. When it comes to inspirational stories, history has a plethora of extraordinary names to offer from the world of science, religion, philosophy, and politics. Now let's take an example of Martin Luther King Jr. Luther, arguably one of the most important names in the 20th century, fundamentally underpinned the mass movement of equal rights and inspired an entire generation to rethink racial equality. Born in Atlanta and growing up under strict US segregation laws, he was inspired by Mahatma Gandhi's nonviolent activism to lead the civil rights movement, eventually ending institutional segregation across the country and picking up the Nobel Peace Prize and the Presidential Medal of Freedom on the way. When you talk to psychologists will tell you the imposter syndrome. In other words, the feeling that you have when that you're kind of fake when you're trying something new and that everybody else is better than you. And so you're just there by luck and so forth. But that's not really true at all. And it's not really the right feeling to have. That you should be more confident in yourself because you've gotten there after all. I think the imposter syndrome is a powerful tool that helps you become more successful. Because if you land in a new situation, let's say that you want to retrain in something and that you're going to land there and you're going to think, I am not nearly as good enough as the people around me. You know, sometimes there are 45-year-olds that start engineering studies and they're feeling really bad because there's all these hotshots and that around them and they got really good grades in high school and they feel like imposters. And so overall, I think the imposter syndrome, the feeling kind of fake, is actually an advantage because it keeps you from being too overconfident in yourself. And if you want to be creative, creativity is more, almost by definition, being different. So in some sense, being the odd person out prepares you to be more creative. And that seems to be a very positive perception of the notion of I don't belong here or I'm not good enough. Your approach is well, you do have some things to learn, and that's an advantage because you have sort of a fresh beginner's mind, and that's going to propel you to new ideas and all sorts of good stuff. Let's talk about staying flexible. No matter what you're doing, you want to be aware of the fact that you're probably going to have to up your game, learn, and that's what we're all going to be doing mostly throughout the rest of our lives. But it's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing because keeping yourself open to learning, it keeps you more flexible, mentally flexible, and actually healthier. Say you're an Uber driver, because if you're an Uber driver, it may be fine for maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years, but in the coming years, artificial intelligence is really coming, and suppose you're working at a call center, then you're going to be having reductions. It's projected that in the next couple of years, there's going to be 20 to 30% reductions in the number of people we'll need, because it's going to become more and more sophisticated in artificial intelligence and the ability to intuit what we're looking for when we make a phone call and ask a question. And it's not just sort of maybe looking obviously automatic kind of career. If you're a lawyer, suppose, artificial intelligence is coming for you. Even if you're a doctor, if you're studying radiology, well, that's going to be a career that's going to be very highly affected. So virtually everyone's career is going to be impacted to some greater or lesser extent. If you have a quest of learning something new, gone are the days when we would enroll in expensive courses. You can simply go online and just learn all the things you want to learn. If you think about it, half of all our face-to-face teacher interactions are below average in their teaching ability. And there are studies that show that there could be a substantial improvement even in the GDP, the national GDP, if you just get rid or just don't deal with the bottom 20% of instructors. And the way the students have started learning online is just evolving to its next level. So what we covered here was that we have the capacity to access brain's hidden potential. All we have to do is 1. Alternate between attention and rest state of mind. 2. Use Pomodoro technique. 3. Seek inspiration and spark the change within. 4. Use the imposter syndrome to your advantage. 5. All the way staying flexible with yourself. And with that, let's end this video. Thank you so much for watching. Do like this video and subscribe.